What main ideas do you want people to understand? A gift that you can give people is how to help them to understand death and dying better.
I think the biggest thing I want anyone to know is if something happened to you, who do I call? Right? We know if you're sick and you're not breathing well, we call 911, right? But if you've passed away and I'm here at the home with you, what do I do? Who do I call? That's the first thing we need to know. And regardless of how many conversations we have beforehand, when we're in that scenario, we have anxiety. We're worried. It's a little bit traumatic. We've never been with someone who's passed away before, right? And so, we don't have the emotional capacity to just, some of us do, okay, I know what to do right away. But, we need to know, who are we going to call when that happens, right? And so it's up to you to kind of inform your loved one, this is who I want you to call. This is what I want you to do, right? And so that when that moment comes, and we all know it will come, your family is prepared. They know what they're going to do. And that's the gift that we want to give our family, is that, yes, this is going to be hard. This is going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy. But I'm going to give you the tools so that you have the best scenario available for you.
Okay.
Once they make that phone call, if you prepaid what you want, if you pre-planned what you want, it's all ready to go. It's all there. Your decisions are made. They don't have to pick a casket. They don't have to pick an urn. They don't have to decide, right? It's all there. Now, if they choose that they want to add something or make things work a little bit better, like we saw during COVID, there was some changes that had to happen, that's okay, because you have a will, they're your executor, they can make those decisions, but definitely you've already stated what you want.
Yeah.
I had a gentleman come in and he had been diagnosed with stage 4. And he didn't want anyone to come in with him. And that's okay. Sometimes we want to do this privately, right? And then tell our families we've done it.
Right.
And so we chatted. He wanted me to write down all his information. And then when we got to cremation, I said, what would you like what to do with the cremated remains? Because if you don't make the decision, your children have to make the decision. Right. And he said, I'm okay with scattering. And I said, okay, that's fine, but where do you want to be scattered?
Right.
Well, I don't know. I said, well, if you don't make the decision, they have to make the decision. And he said, I'm okay with whatever they do. Okay. So I wrote that down. He's okay with whatever you decide. He passed away. His son was his executor. His executor came up to me afterwards and just thanked me for helping him make all the choices so that he didn't have to make any choices. Yeah. But the one question he asked me was, where does Dad want to be scattered? Right? And I said, listen, I tried to make him have a decision. Obviously, he didn't make the decision before he passed, but I'm going to let you know he's fine with whatever you're going to do. Yeah. Right? And what a relief to that gentleman that even though he wants to know, because we do want to know what your wishes are, he can feel relieved that his dad said whatever he does is fine. Right? And what a gift to that child. Now, the dad wasn't ready to talk to him about any of this. Yeah. But at least he had made the decision to give him that gift that he didn't have to make a lot of those decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, when I came in and prepaid and pre-planned, I went home and I was dancing. I said to the kids, it's all done. You don't have to worry about a thing. I got my memorial file folder out. I stuck your paperwork in there. I gave the kids your little cards to put in their wallets. Because when I just had a death in the family last year, I literally just picked up the phone and called you, and you took care of everything. It was amazing. What about people who always say, I want to give my body to science?
Right.
Yeah, or my body's going to go to McMaster. Right. I'm finally going to university. That's my friend's dad said, I'm finally going to go to university. Well, her dad got to university and they sent him back because they didn't want him.
Yes, so we do help families with organ donation and body donation. But what I say with pre-planning is you need a backup plan. Okay. Because yes, we can donate our body to science, and so you don't need that pre-arrangement prepaid for, or we give it back to you, like we had discussed earlier, if you do get accepted into college or university, and you're prepaid, that money goes back to your estate. Okay. But the backup plan is there because there's criteria for being donated, and they
I just thought they'd take anybody as long as it was dead.
That's right.
That was the criteria.
No. And they have to decide at the time of death. So yes, you can go and apply to be selected ahead of time. But if you've just had surgery and you don't have all your scars, healed, they can't take you.
Okay.
Right? If there's been a traumatic part of your death, so a car accident or something like that, they can't take you. There's a certain weight restriction. There's a certain height restriction. So, last year we had 4 people apply, 1 person got in. So those other 3 families, the kids are now like, now what? That was Dad's decision. He wasn't accepted for whatever reason. Now what do we do? And they feel bad because that was your wish to go to university and it didn't happen, right? So you always need to have a backup plan with body donation.
Okay. What I have here, how can you help with the financial situation to not leave a burden? What does that mean?
So a lot of people don't know what estate administration tax is, or what we are familiar with, which is probate tax.
Okay.
So this is a tax that happens on single assets when someone has passed away. Because people aren't aware of this tax or don't really know how this tax works, and you might not have put your estate in a situation where you won't get probate tax, because there is some ways to kind of avoid those things. Your executor actually ends up having to pay that tax to the government as soon as you have passed away. So they have to go to court, and that bill can be quite expensive, right?
Yeah.
It can be $10,000, $20,000, $40,000. It depends on how large your estate is.
Yeah.
So there is some burdens to an executor before they have access to your funds.
Right.
One of the burdens is the funeral. So if you're going to have a big party, like I know you want to have, with some wine and beer and drinks and
live band.
Yeah, exactly. There are some costs to that, right? And those costs have to come out from the executor at the beginning.
Okay.
And so yes, they can pay themselves back at the end, but they do have to pay them ahead. So how do we prevent that? We can prepay the money. We can put it into a tax-free savings account that only the funeral home can offer. It's called an eligible funeral assignment.
Okay.
That money gains interest tax-free. It goes towards anything that is on the funeral bill or the cemetery bill. So that money can be used for those aspects. And then the executor isn't paying out those first few bills at the beginning.
Okay.
There's other bills too, like if you have a house, you have to pay the phone bill, the the gas bill, the water bill, the property taxes.
The Cogeco bill.
That's right. So there's some bills that the executor has to pay before they have access to your funds, right? So if we can take one thing off the plate, let's take it off the plate.
That's perfect. That's amazing. Well, you take more than one thing off the plate. You take everything off the plate.